Welcome to the GCI Project. I'm your host Wayne, and today we're breaking down the latest GCI daily report. If you're looking for a signal in the noise, here it is. We are no longer dealing with isolated incidents. We are navigating a multi-vector instability environment. Our primary lead indicator, the Global Crisis Index, or GCI, currently sits at 67. That is a high water mark for systemic instability. It tells us that these crises, geopolitical friction, seismic shifts, climate extremes, biological outbreaks, and energy volatility are no longer happening in parallel. They are compounding. When you see a 67, you aren't looking at bad news. You're looking at a systemic tipping point where recovery mechanisms are being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of synchronized failure. Why is this happening? Look at the energy sector. We are witnessing a deliberate weaponization of logistical fragility. The campaign of drone strikes against Russian oil infrastructure isn't just about destroying barrels of fuel. It's about inducing economic paralysis. By targeting transit nodes, these strikes are creating fuel vacuums. This leads to a critical feedback loop. Maritime and ground logistics stutter, costs spike, and the technical labor pool, already thinned by persistent biological threats like the dengue outbreaks in Sri Lanka, is unable to keep up with the repairs. Without a stable energy supply, the capacity to respond to any other crisis is effectively neutralized. When energy fails, the strain transfers directly to public health. We've seen this play out in real time in Venezuela. Following the recent seismic event, the medical infrastructure is, by all metrics, in a state of terminal failure. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Surge capacity is zero. When the state can no longer provide basic medical care, civil order evaporates. We are seeing a pattern here. Environmental and seismic events are acting as the ultimate threat multipliers, forcing the workforce to choose between industrial productivity and basic survival. This brings us to the Alpha 7 intelligence node. We are monitoring the intersection of seismic activity and population movement. Data shows that regional disasters are transitioning into mass displacement events. This is dangerous because it provides the political cover needed to break fragile security agreements. If mass migration hits a border, it doesn't just strain resources, it creates the perfect pretext for regional powers to resume kinetic operations. This is the likely trigger that will shatter the current tenuous U.S. Iran stand down. So, where do we go from here? If your organization is still operating on reactive contingency planning, you are already behind the curve. We have 3 recommendations for active, data-driven resilience. First, decentralize your energy procurement. Get off grid. Second, establish medical autonomy. Do not rely on local hospital systems when the grid goes down. Third, integrate live data. If you aren't monitoring the Alpha 7 node to anticipate these triggers, you're flying blind. We are no longer managing events. We are managing a continuous overlapping stream of crises. The data is your only shield against systemic obsolescence. Stay sharp. I'm Wayne, and that's our world today.